we're still talking about amendment number 1. There is a division, but it's in the House of Commons, which is why the green bell is flashing on the screens. Our next witness is Carolyn Willow, whom I'm delighted to see. Welcome. Carolyn Willow is the National Coordinator of CRAE, the Children's Rights Alliance for England. Carolyn's a former child protection officer. She's been a nationally respected children's rights advocate for over 25 years and became CRAE's National Coordinator in 2000. She led CRAE's Freedom of Information 3-year battle with the YJB for full disclosure of restraint methods used in privately run child prisons. She contributed to the Howard League inquiry, which I helped to conduct on restraint, and has been a member of many different groups. She's now a member of the Expert Advisory Group for the Equality and Human Rights Commission's independent review of the protection and promotion of economic and social rights. Carolyn is also the Vice Chair of the Council of Europe's Ad Hoc Advisory Group on Child and Youth Participation. That's quite a CV. Would you like to introduce your evidence, please?
Thank you. I'm really thrilled that you're holding this hearing, and we at CRAE absolutely hope that this marks a watershed in us all collectively saying enough is enough. Two memories stay with me from being part of the Carlile inquiry, Mark 1. The first is a child giving me her bed to sit on because there was nowhere else to sit in her pad, and her sitting on the floor and recounting all these separate incidents where she'd been restrained and where she'd witnessed her friends and other children being restrained, and her sobbing and begging me not to tell anybody of what had happened to her because she would be moved, and this was the first time she'd ever had a certificate and done well in her education, and she showed me the certificate on the wall. The other memory that stays with me comes from the adult part of the Secure Training Centre, and that is from the most senior person I met in G4S, who casually referred to areas of the Secure Training Centre as sterile areas. When I asked him what he meant by sterile areas, he told me and others it was areas where children didn't use. Like many people here, I was working in children's rights, working with children when secure training centres were first thought up, when they were first debated in Parliament, and when we were first promised that these would be purpose-built centres for children. In that one word, sterile, that confirmed to me that we didn't have purpose-built centres for children. Like others here, you can't judge a whole estate, a whole system on one word, and I'm very aware and have digested all of the evidence that has come from children since. For CRAE and for me personally, there's three ways in which I judge restraint and the treatment of children. One is what the law says can be done and what protection is offered to children in custody. Secondly is what statistics and independent monitoring and independent avenues of protection tell us about what is happening to children, and thirdly, what children themselves directly say. And I think for us, for what CRAE has attempted to do over these past 6 years, it's to bring that concrete evidence, which can't be disputed, numbers, statistics, policy documents, rigorous scrutiny of what the law says, and showing up the inequalities and the legal protection, the child protection that children have in custody, and also trying to change the narrative, to bring fairness into this debate, because, and it is changing slowly, the discussion and narrative of restraint in custody hitherto has been from the adult perspective, but not just any adult perspective, the provider perspective, the managers, the directors, the staff. And it's incredibly important that that switch happens to focus on what life is like for children in these settings. Sue has just explained really eloquently the backgrounds of these children that are locked up. A troubled background is absolutely no excuse for staff working with those children having less legal responsibilities, having less legal duties in relation to the use of force. So we've been really keen to inject the child's perspective and to reposition the focus from being of what institutions feel they need and what managers and directors, what civil servants and what ministers believe they need. Because of course, just like children can become institutionalised and believe there's no other way, that they're unworthy, they're not worthy of kind treatment, of care, of compassion, of somebody taking the long time to get to know them and to help them through these very strong feelings, very strong challenges they have. People that make the rules can also, and do, and are institutionalised. And for me, on the outside, looking in, and this is why I hope this is a watershed moment, I just see again and again and again that manifesting itself in the slowness of the change, in the pessimistic, the fatalistic attitude of decision makers, of policy makers, of officials, of a lack of a sense of urgency. And it's difficult to imagine what needs to happen for that sense of emergency and urgency to really get under the skins of those that could really change the culture of what happens to children who are locked up. My background is social work. It is with children in child protection and children in care. And I was a practicing social worker and a children's rights officer when all the revelations started to be heard, properly heard, of abuse in children's homes. And that took 20 years actually for children to be believed, to have credibility, to the needs and the charisma and the narratives of the institutions to be set aside, not wholly, but to be set aside momentarily at least, to really get to understand what was happening to children, and then finally for it to be ministerial and law level to say enough is enough, and that's the hope for this now.
Thank you very much.